Dr. Mark Jangizi here with your Science Moment. Today I'm going to talk about social currency, reputation, and social networks, and the public square and free markets, and free expression, Free expression runs on the blood of social currency. But it's not one social currency per se that's spread across the entire public square. There's in fact many social currencies, just as financial currencies have many financial currencies within different kinds of clusters or different kinds of economies. So, to imagine it, and we've talked about this before. We had a sort of a world with sort of rabbits, and they had a social currency of carrots, and dogs with dog treats, and we're talking about how there can be a gap in conversion rate problems. I'll put up the image of the earlier science moment. But to understand the kinds of dynamics that occurs in social networks, you have to understand that there's these distinct social currencies, and they have conversion rates depending upon how much value one has versus the other. And those conversion rates change over time. I wanted to talk today about two of the main ways that one social currency in one community might rise relative to the other. So the first mechanisms for how my conversion rate, how our currency might become better than the other currencies, because we're bleeding them through argumentation and debate and discussion through the public square. But the other is, as you get a greater amount of supply, one way you can just attract more people is because there's more interest to go to your community to do work to gain reputation. And one way that can happen is they have a greater money supply. We're doing really well. We've got a lot of interest, and so there's a lot of reputation, and you can do work and get it. Or it could just become of interest. Like suddenly there's interest in asteroids because there's one approaching the Earth. Suddenly the group that's interested in asteroids right now might be very small, but suddenly that group would potentially go up by a factor of 100, and the cohesiveness of that group would go up by a lot as well. And there's going to be tremendous new reputation currencies, reputations that are able to be won if you go gold mine, sort of, looking for gold in that community. So people will show up looking to garner reputation in these communities where there's suddenly new cohesiveness, a new kind of community formed where there's all this reputation looking for folks who are justifying or providing information or doing things that are helpful for the cohesiveness and the growth of that community. In COVID, for example, there was no lockdown or anti-lockdown communities before that, but suddenly when the fear of COVID occurred, most of the world jumped into suddenly a new, highly cohesive 90% of the Earth community, and they jumped in there because of both an interest in this, altogether novel, disproportionately dangerous virus, but also what pulls people in subconsciously is that they not only want to know about this altogether novel, disproportionately dangerous virus, but they also feel like there's reputation to be made. They want to show up and they want to signal, hey, I'm trying to help too and make the world a better place. And here's my arguments for why masks work and all that. These are things that you can do to be really helpful. There's opportunity. People are brought in by the implicit opportunity there. Right? That's why they show up. And that was your science moment. If you're interested in the origins of emotional expressions, the origins of the public square, the origins of our ability to stake reputation, that is our emotional expressions themselves, get a copy of Dr. Tim Barber and my most recent book, Expressly Human.